Welcome to the Observe Day podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Observe Day podcast. Since September is Self-Improvement Month, so this episode is all about breaking cycles of burnout and building a lifestyle where you truly look good, feel good, and do great things. My guest is Rob Tracz, dynamic coach, speaker, and founder of Prime Performance Coaching. Rob helps entrepreneurs move from stagnation to sustainable success by blending physical, mental, and emotional strategies that prevent burnout and unlock peak performance. He's here to share the 6 core principles that can change how you approach work, health, and personal growth. If you've been feeling stuck or worn down, this conversation is designed to give you the tools to rise higher in both your business and your personal life. Welcome to the podcast, Rob.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, Rob, September is self-improvement month. What does self-improvement mean to you beyond the cliche?
Yeah, I think, for me personally, I think it's very individualized. So I think self-improvement, the very baseline is just that in and of itself is just seeking improvement for yourself. And that can look totally different for different people. For some people that might be getting up early and going to the gym, and then other people that might be getting around better individuals and having better relationships in your life so that you have a better support circle around you. For me personally, I think self-improvement is just trying to maintain the same consistent output and showing up as the best version of myself on a day-to-day basis.
You've openly shared that you once felt stuck in cycles of burnout. And what was the turning point that pushed you to create Prime Performance Coaching?
Yeah, I was um, always been an athlete my entire life, and that became the new family that I kind of lived with and grew up with. And when I got into college and university, the new sports that I started playing became the new family. And then after, I no longer had my sports family, so I needed to find a way to still stay in the gym and work with a group towards a common goal. And that's really how I fell into coaching in the first place. And for me, because the weight room and training was so familiar, it made it easy for me to get into strength and conditioning and be a coach in that realm. And in that space, I quickly built my book of business up to the point where I was working 15, 16-hour days, 7 days a week. And I did that for about 3 years, and until my life outside of the gym started to fall apart. The relationships that I had no longer existed. My personal health, my mental health all started to fall apart. I started drinking and eating poorly. And then ultimately, I ended up losing my father to cancer.
Oh, I'm so
And
sorry to hear that.
and it's unfortunate, and for most people that might be a wake-up call to, hey, maybe you should start spending time with people that you care about. But unfortunately, I just went right back into that grind, and for another
Mm.
year or so I was just busy hustling. And it was one holiday weekend where I was denied that schedule and everybody was away. And I finally had opportunity to reflect and say, hey, this isn't the life that I want to build. Something needs to change. And in that moment, I knew that I didn't want to be a strength and conditioning coach anymore, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. So
Yeah.
that became the journey of discovering what I'm doing now, which is Prime Performance. And essentially it's helping other entrepreneurs and side hustlers specifically keep going, generate momentum, get unstuck, and start winning. I always say, stop spinning, start winning.
I'm curious, why side hustlers? Of all the, you could have gone for business executive coaching. You could have gone for the literally countless numbers of things you could have focused on, but you decided side hustlers. What's so unique about them?
Yeah. So one of my mentors once told me that you're most powerfully positioned to serve who you once were.
Mm,
And for me, that was it, because during grad school, I was juggling my studies. I had a part-time job at an animal hospital, and I was also in the gym coaching. And So I had multiple things going on. And then when I started building my book of business in fitness coaching, I also started my dietary supplements. I started making protein, multivitamins, fish oil, all those things, and started coaching online. And I started doing this and doing that. So side hustling has always been kind of my forte. I've always had multiple projects going on at once, and I'm always juggling multiple things. So it just made sense because I understand that lifestyle. I understand what happens when you are juggling projects and trying to juggle a social life and personal life, take care of your personal health and doing a lot of other things at the same time. So that's where I'm most powerfully equipped to handle and most experienced. So I want to share that information and that experience and my insights with others who are currently going through the same sort of thing so that they don't experience that burnout phase where they lose people, literally lose people in their lives, and then might not have a chance to see them again.
Yeah. While I was reading the intro, one of the things I said is, your 6 principles. And can you walk us through what the principles are? Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observe Day newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now, let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah. So in prime performance coaching, I have a process, and the process is 3 phases. And it's simple: it's look good, feel good, and do great things. And in order to successfully graduate into the next phase, you have to really show that you follow and abide by these 2 principles. So each phase has 2 principles, so 6 in total. The first 2 principles are part of looking good. And what does that mean, looking good? And I don't mean just in the vanities like aspect of it, but when you truly feel like you're looking good, you show up with this strength and confidence, and you've got
Yeah.
this energy and motivation where you can really just handle anything that life throws at you. Especially in entrepreneurship or side hustling, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. Life's going to throw a lot of things at you, and you have to have the capacity and the motivation and energy to really handle those things and handle them with style and grace and confidence. And when you have that, you can express that. And if, to me, then you're officially looking good. Then you can graduate into the second phase, which is feeling good. And the
Yeah.
2 principles around feeling good are clarity and efficiency. Because when you are feeling good, you know where you're going, you know where you've been, and more importantly, you know where you're at currently. And then you know, once you have that route on where you're trying to go, you move so smoothly and efficiently because you've got your rules and your routines that you live your life by dialed in for
Yeah.
optimization. And once you're moving smoothly and you're feeling good and you're looking good, you finally move into doing great things. And when you do great things, you begin to attract better people. So the 5th principle there is all about social support and capital. And then once you have those better people around you, you can really start creating lasting impact that really multiplies with opportunity. And then the final principle is that opportunity aspect. So getting around better people, creating opportunity for yourself and others.
Is that what you like to call luck creation?
Yes, yep, that's all in that final principle of opportunity. Because a lot of times once you get the first 5 principles down, right? So you've got your resilience, you're confident, you're consuming well, you got good energy, you are clear on where you're at, where you're going, you're moving optimally, and you've got a strong system of support around you. You get into that 6th one of opportunity.
Yeah.
It's easy to look like the overnight success, and then when people look at you from the outside, they're like, oh, that guy's so lucky, oh, he knows so and so, he
Yeah.
got that quick break, or his video went viral. But they don't see everything else that you do. So when you do all the other preparation, all that hard work, the early mornings and the late nights, and you're dialing things in, that's the work that builds and then creates the luck. Plus, I also share some of my tips and my acronyms for luck and how to properly leverage your uniqueness and how to collaborate efficiently, and all those things really make you into that overnight success where people are saying, man, he's so lucky.
Yeah. Well, he's so lucky, not knowing that they've been countless hours and time of creating intentionally doing things to create your own luck.
Yeah.
You say that success is about integration, not separation. And for me, one of the things that was really clear about your story, your origin story, yeah, I like to call it that, is you treated success as a separate box. There was like, oh, the money aspect. I need to make a lot of money. I need to work 20 hours, 15 hours a day. And the health part was on one side, the relationship part was on one side, the family part was on one side. What does this integration look like? Where you're there for the people that you love and care for, taking care of your health, and you're also doing amazing and great work.
Yeah, I wish I could define it for like a blanket term and boundaries for everybody. Like, oh, you got to spend 4 hours a day on your business. You got to spend 4 hours a day sleeping. You got to spend 4. I wish I could break that down, but the truth is that it's so specific for each person individually. Like, for example, I'm still spending probably just about the same amount of time on my business nowadays, but my business has grown and evolved. So now I'm incorporating a lot more people. I'm spending time elsewhere. It's not just sitting in the gym doing training sessions.
Yeah.
Things have changed and evolved, and it does change and evolve with priorities as well. And the problem for me when I was stuck back in what I call robot mode, back when I was in that grinding period, doing all
Yeah.
those hours, I didn't have the boundaries. So if I had a time where it was actually open and I was going to do a date night with my girlfriend at the time, and somebody had canceled their training session, and then they said, hey, I would like to do it Friday night. Can you do it? I would put my clients over my girlfriend because I always prioritized work first. Now that I have a better understanding and a clear focus on where I'm going and what my boundaries are, now I can tell people, hey, no, I can't do that. That's part of my relationship time. Or no,
Yeah.
that's actually my time for working out. That's where I prioritize myself to make sure that I get my meditation in, my lunch in, my workout in, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Wow. A lot of the times when people do self-improvement, or when they say quote unquote they're in self-improvement, what they're basically doing is they just consuming, watching, listening to podcasts instead of doing the work. And one of the key concepts you share is what you call intentional consumption. Can you um, explain what that is and how that sets us free from falling into the trap of consuming content and thinking that that's the self-improvement, listening to podcasts instead of doing the work and say, oh, well, I'm into self-improvement. I take self-improvement seriously.
Yeah. Well, so like much things in life, I think everything kind of falls on a continuum. So for some people, I do believe that just consuming podcasts and consuming books and consuming positive educational stuff can be self-improvement, especially if they're in a place where maybe they're new to it or they're kind of getting adjusted to it. But there does become a period where you do need to shift from consumer into producer and start living
Yes.
that life instead of just consuming it. I like to think of it like kind of like driving down the road. Like driving down the road, you're in the car and you've got all this stuff that kind of throws up onto your window, whether it's dirt, whether it's a bug or whatnot. It kind of gets onto your windshield and then you can't really see. So you use your wipers to wash away the bugs and the dirt, and then you can see clearly again on your road, and then you can continue down your path to get to your destination. And sometimes a lot of stuff kicks up onto your windshield and you got to really wipe it all off before you can go again. And if you think about it like, hey, okay, all that dirt and bugs and stuff, that's just like going on social media and wasting time, maybe playing games on your phone, maybe not really doing anything productive, but it's taking your attention away. So you're
Yeah.
consuming all of those distractions. And the more distractions that you consume, the slower your progress or your journey is going to be. So you can
Yeah.
wipe it off real quick and then you can get back on your road. And that wiping it off or splashing some water on it is kind of like listening to a good podcast or reading a good book, something that is going to motivate you and get you moving forward. But the
Yeah.
problem is, just like if you get caught in a really bad thunderstorm and it's raining really hard and your wipers are going full speed, you're still going to need to slow down because you still can't see because there's so much water coming on. And that's the
Yeah.
same thing. If you're consuming too much podcast and you're consuming too much books and you're never slowing down to actually take some action yourself, it's also going to prevent you from getting to that destination. So it's all about balance. And that's where the intentionality aspect comes into play, because you want to keep in mind, what is the journey that you're going on? What are you trying to improve with your self-improvement? What is the goal behind the self-improvement? So once you have that journey laid out, we just figure out what are we consuming food wise that's going to help our engine run efficiently, and what's in our environment, whether like the distractions, the podcast, what are we consuming that's going to motivate us and keep us going? And then finally, what are the performance checks? Like, how many books are we reading? How much are we doing? How much output are we doing? And when you can kind of keep all of that in picture, that helps you make better decisions intentionally so that you can become a better, improved version of yourself.
Well, when I hear the word self-improvement, and what I would always recommend to someone who's like, oh, I want to do self-improvement, is find a project that excites you but challenges you. That you learn a lot, right? Even if it's learning martial arts, right? If that's what excites you, it would also challenge you, of course. If it's learning to play the piano, or if it's starting a podcast, because I've had my own fair share where I'm like, wow, and I'm about to question my thoughts and like reveal a lot of things. Because the thing is, I think there's a quote that a man who thinks has nothing but thoughts to think. So you have to go out there and actually do stuff to actually have things to say, okay, to reflect on. And say, oh yeah, I did this thing last week. Well, I shouldn't do it. I should try this. Maybe I should do this, right? And that's how we actually improve and become better. Because I see self improvement is like it's like gold. It has to go through fire, right? In order to refine. It's not like, oh yeah, let's stay in the cold, yeah, and just relax and everything works out fine.
Yeah. Well, so that's the whole realm of learning how to do something. That's have you heard of like the competence continuum?
Yeah, I think there's I think there's wait, I've forgotten the word, the key words, but there are like four. There's
Yep.
do you remember the help me out, the words?
Yeah.
I don't,
So
for some reason I just forgot them.
yeah, no, so it is tricky. Sometimes I forget it as well. So on the very far side, it's the unconscious incompetence. So that's where you don't know that you're not
That you
good.
don't know.
You don't know that you're not good. So it's like you're doing something
Ah,
that's brand new. And then
okay.
the next step forward, you're consciously incompetent.
You
So
know that you don't know.
now you know that you're bad. So first you
Yeah.
don't know because you've never done it. Now you
Yeah.
know that you're bad. Then you go a little bit further and then you become like slightly more aware, slightly better. Now you're consciously competent. So now
You
now
know
that you're
that you
getting
know.
better. Yeah. So now you're getting a little bit better. And then the final step is unconsciously competent, which means you can basically do it on autopilot. And that's where you're like really good and you don't even have to think about it. You just crush it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. So like in the beginning, once you start to go and now you have some awareness, that's you're trying to consume a lot because you're trying to make up for a lot of the experience that you don't have. So you're trying to go, but eventually you need to make that shift into getting a little bit better, and you have to be okay with the practice. You have to be okay with
Yeah.
that being bad part first before you can get into being good. Just like
Yeah.
podcasting, when you first started podcasting, I'm sure things were tough and it was hard and it was kind of scary, and then things get a little bit better, and now you could probably do it in your sleep.
I think I'm at the point where I'm at where am I? Where would I say I'm in the content? I know I'm not a consciously incompetent, right? I've passed that stage, but I'm at what's the second? The second stage is you're consciously
It's
consciously incompetent. I think I'm in
Yep.
between consciously incompetent and consciously competent. The thin line, I'm between there.
All right. Well, we're almost there. We're almost into the other side.
Yeah. Wow. It's a really revealing thing, because the thing I believe is that the projects we work on, they work on us, and so it could you don't it could be something else other than a podcast, but you would learn so much, and you have actual things to actually apply the things you're learning. Because now when I read books and I'm like, yeah, how could I apply that for my podcast? It's strange. When I watch movies, I'm like, oh, how could I apply that for my and I'm just thinking, and I'm like noticing. I like the way this question this guy asks this guy, even though it's not an interview, it's something different. I'm like, yeah, I should reframe that question. I should ask this kind of question on my podcast. And what happens is that I have thoughts, but I also have work to implement the thoughts on. I also have something to reflect on, rather than just nothing but mere thoughts to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's important, and I'm similar way sometimes with like my meditation app. It gives you like a little blurb at the end to kind of remember the day by, and then I started looking at that. And I'm like, oh, how can I use this to switch it into some aspect of my
Yeah,
coaching? So I do something very similar.
yeah, that's because you have actual stuff to do. Yeah, that's true. I think of it this way, and I'm like, this is no, it's just a thought. I think of it this way, like, if you're a professor of entrepreneurship, one would expect that you have a business. Like, it's the bare minimum, right? But if you are a professor of entrepreneurship and you don't even have a business, well, all you have it's just theory, analysis, and all that. And I'm like, well, do you actually have an actual business, right? It's like a medical doctor who knows all the theory and everything, but they cannot actually do an operation. And I'm like, really? That's scary. I've not
Well,
seen one like that, but I'm scared. No, no, that's scary.
what's scarier? Is that scarier, or is a medical doctor who does an operation but doesn't know anything?
Ooh, is that even possible?
I don't know. I'm sure you could find a doctor somewhere. I'm sure you can find somebody to operate on you and who has no idea what they're doing.
Nah, no, no, no. I don't even think that's possible. Because even if they probably might not know the textbook explanation and all those terms, they would have learned that thing from someone being an apprentice, and maybe they were just taught by watching and learning. But even in that regards, because they are doing the work, they have something to meditate, to reflect on, to think and have this. The human mind is really really special because they have this work they are doing. They really have, okay. When I did this. Okay, this connects, and right, and they come in with their theory. They come up with their principles, and then you see them out of nowhere. They will just tell you that, oh no, you don't do that. That if you do this, this will happen. And you're like, how do you know that if you do this? And I'm like, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. Yeah. Wow. Well, if someone is listening right now, and we talked about so many principles, we talked about the C score principles, and we also talked about intentional consumption. Um, what would you recommend they focus on to kickstart this self improvement journey, and why?
Yeah, I would. Oftentimes, I try to recommend listeners to, if you're looking to get started on your whole personal development journey and you're not really sure where to kind of kick things off, because there's a lot of things that you can work on.
Yeah,
I think the best thing to do really is to just start with some sort of reflection practice and just start to reflect more consciously. So
oh,
thinking about, like, how'd your day go? How are you feeling? Where do you maybe feel like you're a little off, or what do you feel where are you feeling a little disconnected or frustrated in life? And just kind of sit there and think for a moment and just kind of piece it together. And whether it's journaling, whether it's just meditation, or maybe it's just simply pausing and doing some breath work, creating some sort of reflection practice, I think is the best place to start, because you can't improve if you don't know where you're currently at, right? So it's hard to
yeah,
get better if you can't gauge where you're currently at.
yeah. What gets measured gets improved, and the unexamined life is not worth living.
Beautifully said.
Yeah, it's wow. Self improvement. That's the whole idea. Improvements. Yeah. So in order to improve yourself, you have to, like, quote unquote, measure self. You have to know yourself. And thank you so much, Rob. It's great having a chat with you. And where can listeners learn more about the work you do and also connect with you?
Yeah, the easiest place to connect with me is on social media. So Instagram and LinkedIn. You find me just by searching my name, Rob Tracz. And if you do find me on there and you care to reach out, let me know what you thought about the episode. I'm always looking for feedback on what people are thinking. And if anything I said specifically kind of resonated with you and you're interested in diving in a little bit more, I encourage you to go over to survivingthesidehustle.com/free call. And let's kind of dive in and figure out where we can kind of work together to improve or create a game plan for your own self improvement to help you stop spinning and start winning.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Rob. It's been an absolute delight chatting with you. I'll put the link mentioned in the description and in the show notes so listeners can just click and go directly to the sites mentioned. Thank you.
Perfect. Awesome. It's been awesome. Thank you so much.
That's it for today's episode of the Observe Day podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.